right, everyone, I know I'm not the only person who is over being stuck inside all the time, especially right now during the winter. It's cold, it's gloomy, it sucks, and I am ready to be outside enjoying spring. And that also means wearing cute things when I'm sitting outside having a beer in the sunshine. So this particular video is going to be diving into fabrics that I recommend that you use as you're planning out your spring sewing. If you're browsing fabric stores right now, there are so many different things that you can find. And no, it can be super overwhelming if you're looking for a specific style, a specific weight, like there's just so many. So this particular video is going to be talking about the ones that you're going to most likely find in spring garments and, just really drilling into those, like ones that you're going to get the most bang for your buck. So I kind of thought about which fabrics you're going to be most likely to find and have a consistent experience from store to store. And I also thought about which ones are going to be really good as transitional pieces, especially if it's still a little bit more on the cold side where you are in the world. What would work with like a cardigan thrown over and, that you could layer up and still be able to transition it into like the hotter months. So let's go ahead and start the list. The first fabric that I recommend for your spring sewing is actually going to be a Batiste. This one here is rayon, and I really love it because it's soft, it's airy, it flutters across the skin, so it'll be like nice and comfortable, like as a soft breeze is coming through, or if you're starting to get really hot outside. The catch with this one is that it's a little bit more on the tricky side to sew, so I recommend it more for like intermediate or advanced seamstresses. If you are a beginner, you can still work with it for sure. But just be aware that it's going to be a little bit more tricky to sew, to cut without it shifting on the table as you're working. As long as you go slow, you'll be fine. But this one is really fantastic for camisoles or like comfortable blouses, like really shimmery blouses, these sort of things that glide over the skin. So, for transitioning between the winter and the spring, I would definitely recommend throwing a camisole over, or a cardigan over it, or something like that really will bundle you up. And then obviously as it gets warmer, you can take those off and like be comfortable in just this. Before I get into the next fabric, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and hit the bell so you know when the next video is live and more of these tips come up. But now let's talk about the second fabric I recommend, which is a chambray. Now, I have worked with this fabric before here on the channel. If you haven't already seen the video on that, go ahead and click the link. I think it'll, wait, which side is the right? This is probably the side. Either way, go ahead and watch that video so you can kind of see what that fabric looks like a little bit more in depth. But the TLDR is that it is usually a sturdier mid-weight fabric. It has a little bit more of a hand to it, so it holds its shape a little bit better. It's really nice over a shoulder pad or even as a structured button-up top. And I like it because you can make it super dressy, not like dressy to party, but more like dressy to go to work, or these sort of things where it's like a little bit more buttoned up while still being comfortable and not being as casual as denim. So I really like this fabric because you'll be able to make a pair of trousers or make like a really nice blouse that has a little bit of a shape to it, but at the same time still be comfortable and like feel like you can move well within it. In the piece that I had made previously, what I liked about it was that it looked really nice, but I was so comfortable in it. Like I did not feel constricted in that fabric. It was still very breathable. So highly, highly, highly recommend it. Beginners, feel free, have at it. It will have like a very nice weave to it. So it's gonna be stable as you're working with it. The last fabric that we're going to talk about for your spring sewing is actually going to be a cotton poplin, one of my favorites, my go-to. This one is one that I love working with because buying it from a bunch of different fabric stores, the quality is usually pretty consistent, so you know exactly what you're getting. It's got like a nice crisp hand, so like once you press it, Yeah, it might get some wrinkles on there, but it still looks pretty good. Even like when you sit on it or like fall asleep on it, like it still looks pretty decent. The colors are a lot more vibrant. And while it does not like easily glide over the skin, it still feels comfortable and put together, which I really love. I've made a few pieces on this channel using cotton poplin, so definitely check out those videos. I'll link them wherever they're gonna pop up. Maybe this side, I guess, I don't know. I pointed at both directions in this video. Either way, this particular fabric, super stable, cuts really well, stitches very well, plain weave, which is nice. Like, you know, and can count on it, which is really good, and one of my reasons that I go to it all the time. But the catch with this is that it's a little bit more on the, I won't say thicker side, but it's like definitely a medium weight. Doesn't do so well in like the heat of summer. So like in spring when it's transitioning, it's fine. Like it's nice and comfortable and crisp. But if you're like sweating all over it, like right in the middle of like a 90-degree like heat wave, you're gonna feel it like that. This fabric will kind of like stick to you and just be like wet and gross. So I don't necessarily recommend it if you're like on the second half of spring starting to transition into summer. I would probably just use it like in the spring and in the fall, and that's when you're gonna get the most value for this. So my third most recommended spring fabric. The fabrics I showed in this video are barely the tip of the iceberg for what you can use for sewing in the spring. These are the ones that I always gravitate towards and are super common in spring sewing patterns. So they're very easy to look for, to find. If you're browsing online, you know, obviously do the filter search on whatever fabric website you're looking at to look at these and see if they really speak to you. If you're going in store, you know, obviously do like the taste test, the feel test, to find fabrics that are like this or that really like stand out to you. But with all of that said, I'm actually very curious. If you use fabrics that are different than the ones that I talked about in this video, please let me know down in the comments, because I obviously want to be able to order some swatches and add them to my swatch book and really get to know that fabric, especially if I'm, you know, making a cute dress or a blouse to sit outside and have a beer. Who knows? Maybe I'll use that fabric, and I would love it to be a recommendation from one of you guys. But with all that said, please check out my fabric swatch book. I have a free download on this, so you can create your own at home. You just print out a couple sheets, and then you can cut out your swatches and stick them in there so you know what fabric you're going to time and time again. But with that said, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, all the places, all the stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Poplin, Scene 6, Take 1. Bum, bum. Bum, bum.